Hello and welcome back. So this video is for class 12 and today we will start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 6, electromagnetic induction. So before you are starting with this, please make sure that you have seen all the videos for chapter number 5 and you have done all the solved numericals. Go through the notes that I have sent to you, okay, and make sure that you have seen all the solved numericals, okay. It is not a very difficult chapter number 5. Correct. Most of it is very theory based, so I'm sure you'll be able to follow it very easily. So with that, let us begin with our new chapter, and that is electromagnetic induction. Okay, a very interesting phenomena. Now, what it is that we have seen in the previous chapter? We saw that if we have a flowing electric current, that electric current would produce a magnetic field. Correct. So this is what we have seen, that an electric current that gives rise to a magnetic field. Correct. That is what we have seen till now, and that was the basis of our previous chapters. Okay, we have a circulating current, and that is what we called as a magnetic dipole. It would have a magnetic dipole moment. So current would give rise to a magnetic field. So scientists, they began to wonder that if the opposite is true, that means we are getting a magnetic field from electric current. Is it possible to get an electric current from a magnetic field? Okay, so scientists like Michael Faraday and Henry, they did some experiments and they found out that this effect is actually true. We can actually get an electric current from a magnetic field, and that is nothing but the concept of electromagnetic induction. Okay, so let us see that concept. So, electromagnetic induction. The word itself would tell you electromagnetic. Okay, there will be a relationship between electricity and magnetism. So what we see in this phenomenon of electromagnetic induction, that if we have a changing magnetic field, that changing magnetic field can actually create an electric current. Okay, now what is the meaning of this? Let us say we take a coil of wire, okay, and to that coil we attach a galvanometer. Okay, now galvanometer, I am sure you remember. Galvanometer will show deflection if there is an electric current flowing through. So if I have simply attached any wire to this galvanometer, there will be absolutely no deflection because there is no current flowing through. Then what we will do, we will take a magnet, right? Or let us say we take a bar magnet, and now we will move this bar magnet towards the coil, right? So what are we doing? Moving the bar magnet towards the coil. When we do this, we notice that as we are moving it closer, the galvanometer begins to show a deflection, which is showing that as the magnet is approaching, there is an electric current being set up in the coil. And why it is set up? It is set up because the magnetic field around this coil is changing. In fact, as we see, because the magnet is approaching, the field is becoming stronger. Okay, so this is the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction, that a changing magnetic field can produce an electric current. So this is what we see. We are moving the magnet close to the coil, it will show deflection. If we keep the magnet stationary, the deflection will be gone. It will again show null deflection. Then if we move the magnet away from the coil, once again there will be a deflection in the opposite direction. So either the field should be increasing or the field should be decreasing. In both cases, we will be able to see a deflection. Okay, so electromagnetic induction can take place even if the field is increasing or it is decreasing. What we need is that the field should be changing. Okay, so one way is move the magnet towards the coil. Other way is move the coil towards the magnet. Okay, so what we need is basically we need a relative motion between the coil and the magnet. So even if coil is moved towards the magnet, we will see the same effect. Okay, and that is electromagnetic induction. So one way to get electromagnetic induction is by having relative motion between the magnet and the coil. Okay, so if there is relative motion, there will be an electromagnetic induction. The current that we get, that will be called as the induced current. Remember this word, right? So that is one way, as I said, have a relative motion. There is another way that we can create electromagnetic induction without using magnets at all. Let us see how. So we are having two coils with us, coil A and coil B. Coil means it is a metallic wire, okay, a conducting wire. So we have coil A connected to a galvanometer, we have coil B connected to a battery and a key, right? Initially the key is open, no current is going through B, and you can see no battery is attached to A, so no current is going in A, the deflection is 0. Now if we close the key, right, for B, if you are closing the key, what would happen is the current would start flowing through the coil, and we know very well when an electric current flows through a coil, it will create a magnetic field around it, right? So if we close the key, there will be a magnetic field set up. So earlier magnetic field was 0, then it would reach some value B. So as the current starts flowing, we will see a deflection, correct? But as the current becomes steady, the deflection comes to 0. Getting the idea? Only when the current has started to flow, we would see a deflection. If there is a steady current, we will not see a deflection. Once again, what we can do? We can open the key, right? If you open the key, now the current goes from I to 0. Similarly, magnetic field goes from B to 0. As the magnetic field decreases, once again you will see a deflection in the galvanometer in the opposite side. Okay, so that is also another way to create electromagnetic induction. Or we can do a simple case where we can attach a variable power supply. We can increase or decrease the value of current. Okay, and I'm sure you know how to do it. We can change the resistance, we can change the voltage. So if you go on increasing the value of current, as the current increases or decreases, again we will be able to see induced current. Okay, so this is how you can get electromagnetic induction. Either have a relative motion between the two, or you get two coils like this and have a changing electric current in one coil, which will have an induced EMF, induced current in the other coil. So remember these terms. Okay, if we get electromagnetic induction, whatever due to electromagnetic induction, the current that we get is called as induced current, and the EMF that is developed, that is known as induced EMF. Okay, now to study this particular concept, we will need to define some of the physical quantities. Okay, so let us see some quantities. Now what we discussed, we saw that to get induced EMF, to get induced current, we need a changing magnetic field. Basically we are talking about a changing magnetic flux. So we need to define the quantity of magnetic flux. So we define magnetic flux as, and magnetic flux is denoted by the symbol phi b. Magnetic flux is defined as the dot product of magnetic field and the area vector. So phi b is equal to vector b dot vector A. B, magnetic field, and A, this is the area vector. Previously I hope you remember we have discussed this concept of the area vector. So dot product of B and A will give us magnetic flux. Okay, of course it is a dot product, that means magnetic flux will be a scalar quantity, and SI unit of magnetic flux is Tesla meter square. Okay, this also has to be remembered. Next we will see the Faraday's law of induction. Okay, now we want to define the relationships for these for this induced EMF. So here is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Faraday's law states that the induced EMF, which is denoted by epsilon, induced EMF is equal to rate of change of magnetic flux. Getting the idea? Very simple. He says that induced EMF is equal to rate of change of magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is given by phi b. Rate of change will be given by d by dt. Okay. So with respect to time, and we have to add the sign of negative. Why negative? Because this induced EMF will be in the opposite direction of the change in flux. Okay, this also we will see in a later law, that is the Lenz law. So remember, this is the Faraday's law. The induced EMF is equal to rate of change of magnetic flux. Mathematically it is given by epsilon is equal to minus d phi b by dt. This E stands for the EMF, the induced EMF that is developed. And whenever you are writing Faraday's law, don't forget this minus sign. Right, the minus sign, as I said, arises because whenever we get induced EMF, it is in the opposite direction of that change in magnetic flux. So if we have one coil, we will write the Faraday's law as E is equal to minus d phi b by dt. Suppose in the coil we have got number of coils, n number of coils, then the formula would become E is equal to minus n d phi b by dt. Okay, this n stands for the number of turns. So depending on how many number of turns of that coil you are having, we will get the EMF. So of course you can see more number of turns, more will be the EMF. Next we will see the Lenz's law. Now you can think of Lenz's law as very much connected to the Faraday's law. Lenz's law will state that the induced EMF has a polarity such that it tends to oppose the change in magnetic flux. Okay, and that is why we get that negative sign in the Faraday's law. Okay, so what is Lenz's law? That the polarity of induced EMF is in such a direction that it opposes the change in magnetic flux. Now what is the meaning? Okay, now that is important to understand. So let us try. Here I have a coil. Okay, so we have a metallic coil. Right now there is no magnetic field, no change, so there is no EMF. Then let us take a magnet. So imagine this pen is a magnet, right? This tip represents North Pole, this represents South Pole. Now what we are going to do, we are going to move this pen towards the coil, right? So you can see the North Pole is moving towards the coil. So now I want you to look at your right hand. Okay, this right hand will be very important whenever you are doing any kind of question based on Lenz's law, and there is a very good chance that you will get at least one question based on this. Okay, when we study electromagnetic induction, these are some of the basics, the fundamentals. So such questions are mostly given. Okay, so once again, look at your right hand. The thumb should give the direction of the magnet, and your curled fingers. Okay, these are very important. You have to see if your curled fingers are in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise, right? So let us start. So now we want to use the Lenz's law to find out how we will get the EMF in this. Okay, let me put some points. This let me write as A, here we will write small b, C and D. Okay, so this coil we have given the names A, B, C, D. Now, when we are moving this magnet, you have to assume this is a magnet now. When we are moving a magnet towards the coil, we know there will be induced EMF. Why there will be induced EMF? Because the magnetic flux around this coil is going to change, correct? Because I am moving the magnet close to it. So now as the magnet is moving close to it, in what direction will the EMF go? Will it go from A, B, C, D to A, or it will go in the clockwise direction, that is A, B, C, D. So as I said, we have to use your right hand. So now let us say the magnet is moving towards the coil, right? So my thumb should be in the direction of the magnet, like this. My thumb is pointing to the direction in which the magnet is moving. Look at my fingers. Okay, you can see my fingers, that is the right hand, it is going in the clockwise direction. Okay, but what does Lenz's law say? That EMF tends to oppose the change in magnetic flux. So the EMF will be opposite. Getting the idea? According to my right hand, the flux is actually clockwise. So therefore EMF will be anti-clockwise. So in this case, if this magnet is moving towards the coil, the flux will be in the anti-clockwise sense, that is A, B, C, D. Like this, the EMF would go. Making sense, right? And these kind of questions you have to read them again and again and try with your hand again and again. Then it will become more easy. So once again, if I am moving the magnet, again this is the North Pole. If I am moving magnet North Pole towards the coil, in that case induced EMF will be anti-clockwise because curled fingers are clockwise. Now, if let us say instead of moving this magnet towards the coil, I take this magnet from here and move it away from the coil. Okay, if I am moving it away from the coil, now because the magnet is moving here, my hand should go in this direction, right? My thumb should point outwards. Why? This magnet I am moving outwards now. So thumb is pointing outwards, see, curled fingers clockwise, therefore EMF anti-clockwise. So if magnet is moving outwards, in that case the EMF would be like this, that is A, B, C, B, A. Getting the idea? This topic I want you to read in the textbook once again. Okay, and if you want, rewind the video and watch it again. We'll do a short revision. Magnet moving towards the coil, EMF anti-clockwise. Magnet moving away from the coil. When we say magnet moving away from the coil, we are specifying that it is the North Pole that is moving away. Then EMF would be clockwise. Now I am very sure that must not have been very easy to understand, but still make sure try to understand it, read through the text, okay, and think about what we are reading. To make it clear, let us see one example. These kind of questions are generally asked. So here what we have, we have a magnetic field, okay, a uniform magnetic field which is given by this axis. Now you know very well, x means the magnetic field is pointing inwards, correct? So it is going inside this board. We have a coil A, B, C, D, right? We are moving this coil in this direction, means the coil is moving inside the magnetic field, okay, that is the case that we are seeing. Now you can see as the coil will move inside the magnetic field, what would happen to the flux? The flux would go on increasing. Why the flux would increase? Because we know that flux is given by B dot A. So if area increases, the flux would increase, right? So, and of course, and as we are moving this coil inside the field, there will be a rate of change of flux. Okay, it will not be zero. Correct? So we would get some induced EMF by the Faraday's law. So such kind of questions are asked, that if you have a coil which is moving inside the magnetic field, in what direction will the EMF be developed? That is, in what direction electric current will flow. Okay, let us see how we will solve such questions. So once again, coil is A, B, C, D moving inside this field. As it is moving inside, the flux will go on increasing. We have an increasing flux, remember. So, and the field is pointed inwards. So how do you get the direction of induced EMF? Again, right hand. Right hand, the thumb should be pointing inside. Why inside? Field is going inside and it is in the increasing fashion. So my curled fingers are in the clockwise direction. Now you can understand where will the EMF be? EMF will try to oppose. So clockwise means it should go from A, B, C, B. But oppose means it should go in the anti-clockwise, that is A, B, C, B, A. Getting the idea? So when this coil is moving inside the magnetic field, the EMF will go in the anti-clockwise sense, that is from A to B to C to D to A. Okay. Similarly, let us say we have another kind of another coil. Let us give this the name PQR. Okay, PQR, we are moving away from the coil, away from the magnetic field. Because it is moving outside the magnetic field, what would happen is the flux will start to decrease. Now one thing, let me clarify before I move forward. If this PQR, it is moving only inside this field, okay, only here where the magnetic field is present, the flux will not change, so no EMF will be developed. Okay, EMF will be developed only when this PQR is coming out of this magnetic field. So that is, if PQR is here like this. Okay, if PQR is exiting the magnetic field, only then we will get some induced EMF. What will be the direction? So what we will do? It is coming out, so flux will be decreasing, right? You can see the area where the magnetic field is, that will go on decreasing. As area will decrease, the magnetic flux will decrease. So magnetic flux is decreasing means my thumb should not be pointing inwards, it should be pointing outwards. Curled fingers are anti-clockwise. That means EMF, the induced EMF will be opposing, it will be clockwise, that is PQRP. Okay, so this is basically solved example number 6.4 in the textbook. Okay, so after watching this, read that example, this topic will become more clear.